Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wellness Wednesday Inspiration. We are here with Dr. Linda Marquez, and we are so excited.
Yay, I'm glad y'all are going to be joining us. We're excited to be able to just come on and share some of our knowledge. Actually, I think what we have to share can help save a lot of people's lives, and just the dynamics of everything that's going on right now in our life. I really believe that we're living through something that we'll be talking about to your kids, your grandkids, and just like, yeah, I lived through that. It was crazy, but but also good came out of it. So I'm really, really excited about that. So, Fernanda,
We're making history.
yes, we
Definitely.
are, and just, I've been in this field in the health and wellness field. I always tell people for over 30 some years. If you want to go back till I was a teenager, it's more like over 40 years just in the health and fitness industry. And I've loved it. And even now, I'm just even more passionate for that. And it's always been more of a natural drugless approach. So it's great to see how things are changing, how things were years ago to how people are becoming a little bit more, probably a lot more, I think, open-minded about health and wellness and the different approach of how important it is what you do put in your body, but also what you put in your mind. So as a chiropractic physician, functional medicine practitioner, and nutritionist, that has always been like a big part of the practice since I first started, years ago in this field. And then you, Fernanda, come from a kind of a different approach, but it's really, neat to see, want to get kind of your feedback and everything.
Yeah, it's a good way that we complement, I think, in the field of medicine. So I'm a nurse practitioner. I have been a nurse practitioner for about 6 years now. And I do family and internal medicine, more in the traditional medicine approach, deep down. And I do try to promote, even with my patients, a lot of education for natural ways and wellness and prevention. I'm very well focused and very focused on prevention. So that's a big part of what I do. And I do have an interest in helping people, not just perhaps take something and quote unquote fix a solution temporarily, but getting to that root and helping people actually get to a wellness space.
Yeah. And that's kind of neat how we met. And I kind of want to share that story because it's just like, I always tell people, and I know a lot of people don't like to hear everything happens for a reason, but I really believe there's always something that we can walk away with, always something good as a result. And so you and I, met through that, through this situation. Because and just think about like COVID there's some good that has come out of this. I really believe this. And this is a result of that. And it also just puts more of an urgency of what do you need to be doing in life right now? It's just like, you may not live another 24, 48 hours. So, make some major changes in your life, live life to the fullest. And, I believe that your health just plays a huge impact on that. So kind of, how we connected was interesting. We're going to give Gary V a shout out. Gary, it's called Tea with Gary V. And for those of you, who need a little bit of motivation. He doesn't like to be called a motivation speaker, but you know what? He's going to light fire up your butt. And I'm going to give you kind of a warning. He does use very colorful language. So if that offends you, then it may not be something for you. But, it's just kind of like getting to the point. If there's a pink elephant in the room, let's talk about the pink elephant in the room. Don't avoid it. Don't tippy-toe about it. And even people right now with this whole health situation going on, it's like, don't try to look for the solution in a pill, and then, so you and I resonated with that because I did call in, and I knew that I was going to get picked, and that's just the power of the mind. I knew that I was going to get picked as a caller.
And he gets thousands of people watching this show, the Tea with Gary Vee, every morning.
Yeah.
Hundreds of people calling every single morning. Yet you got in the day that I was listening,
Yeah.
which I never listen. I listen to it probably once or twice a week. And it was at that time, at the same moment that I logged in, you were connected.
Yeah, yeah. And so I don't believe her. It's just like there was a divine appointment. Let's just say that there's a divine intervention in that. So yeah, it was just interesting that, I just had a feeling I was going to get on a show, and people are like, a lot of people responded and messaged me on Instagram right after the show. And I was getting just a lot of messages. And so that's just, that in itself is just telling you the power of community and why it's so important to have the right people in your circle.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not all gonna think alike when it comes to health, wellness, or even how this whole situation of the lockdown, stay-at-home orders, and COVID. Some people are going to get irritated with you, and other people are going to totally agree with you, and it's okay. It's fine. And everyone has their opinion, and I always say you're entitled to it, but we can agree to disagree, right? That's the beauty of it. So, that's how we connected, and something beautiful came out of that. One of the, because I had a call, and you could go on a show and listen to what my question was, because I think we all have the same struggles in life, and we put on a picture that our life is so perfect. And it really isn't. And I think it's just right now about being authentic, be true to yourself. And, how can we do that with health? And how can, it's called Wellness Wednesday Inspiration, so that you can kind of look at your midday, your midweek. How is that coming along? What are you doing that's nourishing you and your mind and your body?
Getting you that dose of inspiration midweek to continue for the rest of the week.
Yes.
Yeah. So we, after I saw Linda, going back to the story, after I saw Linda, I think I have never sent a message to someone that I listened to a video, someone random from a video.
Yeah.
Because what are the odds, of connecting? And I ended up sending Linda a message, and she replied, and we happen to have a mutual person that we know in common. Mm-hmm. So just we got talking, and we share very similar ideas in health, and we have very similar perhaps likes in regards to and thoughts in how the mind works, and all these the positivity and the mind. It's more kind of what it's for me.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm so glad, because I've had a lot of people reach out, and they're like, I was like nervous to reach out. I'm like, I'm just a human being like you. Okay. So I have some letters behind my name. Big deal. I'm still a human being like you. I eat, I sleep, I have kids. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I'm a daughter. I'm all those things like a lot of you. And we want to leave a positive impact, a legacy in this world. And I'm sure there's a lot of us like that. I know you and I have that in common. And what's been wonderful is, so when people reach out, it's just like, I'm not better than you. It's just like, we're all just here trying to improve and just become better versions of ourselves. And I know that's you and I have that in common. So I think, yes, I think kind of the message, even the takeaway behind that is like, take a chance. You just take a chance, and life's about taking chances. And, it's what the inspiration is about, is taking chances, because you don't know where it's going to go. But
the thing with that is, most of the time when we don't take a chance, and I speak for myself, and I know there's many people out there in the same situation, if we don't take a chance, it's because of fear, and fear, it can paralyze you if you're not aware of it.
Yeah.
So definitely. The point of feeling fear, it's kind of giving you a warning, like, hey, you're doing something different, something that you didn't do yesterday. Like, get away from it. Danger, danger, danger. It doesn't mean that it's something bad for you. It's a way of the mind protecting you and keeping you alive, but keeping you in the same repetition, not doing anything different. So feeling fear, it's never an absolute don't do it, don't move, towards whatever it is that you want to do. It's more of a realization of maybe this is going to make me grow.
Mhm.
Fear.
Yeah, it's they're called growing pains.
Mhm. Yes.
It's kind of like being pregnant and it's like, oh my gosh, and then the baby pops out,
Mhm.
and then there's still growing pains with that in the sense that there is no manual how to raise a kid. Everybody raises a child differently and they're all differently. So, fear that's going to be part of life, or just being uncomfortable to then. And my saying is always learn to be uncomfortable,
Mhm.
to be comfortable with what's
Be
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable. Mhm.
Yeah, because that's really where the change is. So that's kind of our mission. Why we wanted to do this. It's just like just to connect and mostly with a lot of women. And we were talking about that, how a lot of women take care of everyone else but themselves, and they're the ones that end up with a lot of the health issues. And I'm probably assuming you have a lot of female patients as well that if they
Oh my
resonate the same thing. They're
I
unhealthy.
have a lot of female patients and I have a lot of Hispanic female
Yeah.
patients, which is
Mhm.
a little bit of another level on not taking care of our health and caring for everybody else.
Exactly. It's just like they feed everybody else, and it's like they're trying to put the oxygen mask on everybody else, but they're not putting it on them first, and
Hmm.
that's always been my thing. Like, I'm taking care of me first so that I can be a better mom, a friend, a doctor, a better human being, because
Hmm.
when you don't feel great, you're a crab. At least I'm a crab. you
Yes.
know,
It's
and
so.
it just, yeah,
Mhm.
and
Go
it
ahead.
makes it harder. So, even just our whole mission of, why we want to bring this on. But so what are some of the things that you're sharing with your patients in regards to, optimizing their immune system and helping them become, healthier and stronger as we are going through this midst of things? Because this isn't new. There's been pandemics, I believe that we're going to go through this again, and
Oh, I
another flu season. This is
Mm-hmm.
just a different title that's been
Hmm.
given to it, and it's just been a lot of exposure. So it's a lot more magnified. There have
Hmm.
been deaths every single year when the flu epidemic is around, when it comes every single year.
Hmm. Hmm. So, some of the things that I'm sharing with my patients right now, and one of the things that I'm focusing on so much is stress.
Mhm,
Stress will bring your immune system down. You have to
mhm,
control stress. It's when it's most important. When your immune system is at risk, you need to control that stress.
mhm,
So, with the pandemic and although anxiety around it and people feeling so concerned about their health, they're raising that anxiety, that stress, and stress lowers your immune system. So
mhm,
I tell my patients many times, what are you worried about? I understand that there are so many things, but what are you worried about? So they would say, well, I'm concerned about so many deaths from corona, and I'm concerned about not, the restrictions of the government. And my advice is try to be concerned with the things that you can change, that
mhm,
you can control. So can I control the fact that I can wear a mask outside? Can
mhm,
I control the fact that I can eat fruits and veggies to increase my immune system? Can
mhm,
I perhaps have the control of the fact that I will not leave my house if I don't have to leave my house? Things that you
mhm,
can control to keep
mhm,
away from, the places where the pandemic is being
mhm,
spread. But
mhm,
those are things that you can do. You can increase your immune system by drinking more water, eating
mhm.
healthier, sleeping. It's a huge, huge one. So
Yeah.
if you sleep well, your immune system also improves. You have
Mhm,
a stronger immune system. So basic things that, it sounds so cliche, like eat better, drink water, all these things,
yeah.
but they do really help.
Yeah, it's worth repeating. It's kind of like, I use the analogy with your kids. You tell them, don't touch the stove. Don't touch the stove. How many times do you
Mhm.
have to tell them? And then they touch it like, oh, and then sometimes they'll do it
Right,
again. So
right.
it just, yeah. And with your immune system, I had one, I put out a guide of things that people can do. It's like, you don't have to go buy all this stuff, but there's certain common sense things, like you said, even before all this, is wash your hands. You don't want to become completely too sterile, but yes, wash your hands. You went to the bathroom, wash your hands, making sure you're drinking enough water, staying hydrated. What affects your immune system? We got to remember 60 to 80% of your immune system is in your gut. And so everything that you eat is going to impact your gut. So everything you eat is also going to impact your immune system. And because there's that brain gut connection, everything you eat is also going to affect how you think and your ability to see the world in a different place and not be so stressed out. Because when you're in stress mode, you're in fear mode. When you're in fear mode, it's hard to learn new things. And that's what we need to be looking at now. So that's just a big issue, is your digestion. Your digestion will equate with your immune system. And just because a person always tells me, oh, I'm relatively healthy. I'm like, well, how do you know? Just because of the way you feel? You can't go by that, because you and I've seen this, where somebody may come in for a wellness check and you run the numbers and their glucose levels are, 180, or their hemoglobin A1C is like, 8, and they're diabetics. And then here they had no clue that they were a diabetic. And they're like, well, I feel fine. I'm healthy. It's like, you can't, and they're carrying an extra 60 pounds. You cannot tell me that you are healthy with that. So it's about, everything that you eat and you do does impact your GI tract, which, like I said, impacts your immune system. And a lot of the people that have been impacted by this, they've had some compromised immune system. Does it always stay compromised? No. It's just whatever the demand is at that time in your life. So, that's one thing that I like to, share with patients is, and kind of thought of, like, right now it's getting hotter here where I am. I'm in the desert. So we're cranking up the AC. So the cost, our bill is going to be a little bit higher because we're running the AC more now. So you have to kind of go with, what's changing in your body and at this time. So with your immune system, like I said, there's I have some recommendations, but just the basic ones, like you said, is one, what you're putting in your mind. 2, your sleep, because your immune system is actually being rejuvenated at nighttime. So make sure you're getting your sleep. What are you putting in your mouth? What are the foods? Vegetables, great. Try to get organic, fruits, be careful. I always kind of minimize that to patients, 1 or 2 cups a day, because some people can still have high blood sugar levels with fruits. And just clean animal products. If you choose to eat fish, chicken, turkey, beef, any of that, pork, make sure that they're sustainably raised. I feel like I keep repeating a lot of the stuff, but some stuff's common sense that maybe you need to hear it again, and then drinking plenty of water. That's another thing that you can do. So those are some of the things you're probably sharing as well with your patients.
Absolutely. For me, a lot of it is the mind, and the mind, to me, it's kind of like the primary thing. If you're aware, if you're conscious of what's good for you, what's good for your body, what's going to keep you in that healthy, mindful state of mind wellness and body wellness, I mean, you have like the whole battle almost won. I mean, the rest is just actually doing the things, which is easy. But it's hard, but it's easy once you conquer your mind. If you tell your mind, okay, this is it, I'm done, and this is not going to happen again. And that is exactly why we sometimes see patients, and I'm sure you've seen it, Linda, where patients, after smoking 30 or 40 years, one day say, this is it, and that's it, and no more. And those are the patients that don't even have cravings or anything, because they made a determination, they made it up in their mind. And that's it. Like, there's no turning back. There is no, well, I'm kind of craving it, or it's done. So the same thing for me, the same thing kind of applies with the entire health. If you say, you know what, this is it, this is the last day that I'm going to be overweight, or is the last day that I'm going to eat, I don't know, sugar, and that's how it all starts. But it has to start with a decision. It can be fearful, but fear is not a bad thing as long as you're moving towards your goal. And the other thing is you gotta be persistent. You gotta continue. It's not going to feel good. You're not going to like it. People who don't exercise and start exercising, they're not necessarily happy at the beginning, but you're moving towards that goal. And if you're persistent enough, the body gets to the point and your mind gets to the point where they say, well, it's happening enough where I'm no longer in fear. I'm no longer in survival mode. I can adapt. Right?
Absolutely. And I know, like you were sharing, some of your favorite strategies. Let me just kind of go back to just, I don't know what you're doing. I would love to hear what you're doing as far as like, I know what dietary changes, we're so much in line with that, and certain supplements that maybe you've been recommending your patients. And then, I make these recommendations. They're just very generic. And of course, I always like to do the blood testing and just test and not to guess, to be very specific. But it's just like if you have a car, okay, put gas in it. Watch it so you can see where you're driving. If your windows are dirty, it's like wash it. Do you check the air in the tires? Those are real basic things. And with certain supplements and, some of the research that's, that we're seeing out there is like, vitamin D, because it regulates the T-Rex cells. So for inflammation, and we know that this is a lot an inflammatory based issue that we're seeing. Other thing is like with zinc. I have patients, take like zinc. You've been seeing a lot of like the zinc because it inhibits the viral replication. So we've been seeing that even with quercetin as well. So those are just some of the basics, and vitamin C as well. Doing high dosage anywhere from 1 to 3 grams, and also making sure that you're taking something that's time released. So you don't take it all at once. If you're taking a time released one, then it's being released throughout the day, but it's sometimes hard to find that. So I just recommend patients, okay, well then maybe you can do 100, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, take it 3 times a day. So you have to, there's guidelines with that. And I think just getting the food part dialed in is going to help a lot, because the less stress it is to your GI tract, the easier it's going to be for you to combat whatever bacterial viruses are out there, because they're always going to be out there. And the solution is not sterilizing your body, everything. That's not the solution. Otherwise, you're going to live in your house all the time. And I don't like that.
Having your immune system and having your body strong for when it's needed, and not the other way around. Not taking care of your body, and then once you have something, try to care for it. I think if you keep it strong, if you're regularly checking on your body, on yourself, and you're keeping healthy and staying healthy, if anything happens, you're that much more likely to be able to fight anything off,
Yeah, for sure. So what are I would like to hear some of the conversations that you have with yourself about managing, how you manage stress in your mind. How do you do that? Because you and I, we so believe in the same. We're on like the right track. We're already making plans on, what we're going to do and what seminars and experiences we're going to go have together. And we're both excited about that. But I would like to hear, what are some of the strategies you have for managing stress?
So some of the things that I do on my day-to-day are I go on walks with my family twice a day. Unless the weather is really cold, I live in Chicago and it's crazy here. So unless it's really cold, we always make it a point to go outside at least twice a day. Bikes, walking, running. I was teaching my mom how to ride a bike. So I
saw that.
Running like crazy after her, just making sure that she wasn't falling. So that's one thing. The other thing that I do is I do make sure that I sleep well. I sleep at least 7 hours every single night. If I don't sleep, and we had a talk about this, if I don't sleep, I don't feel like myself. I don't feel like I'm focused, or maybe not necessarily just in like the best me, right? So I do need to make sure that I sleep. The other thing that I do is I home cook. I've always really ate a lot of home cooked meals. And
Mhm.
I do make sure that we have a portion of vegetables at least once or twice a day. My breakfast is always a fruit smoothie. So I put
Mhm.
fruits. Kiwi, it's a good fruit for
Mhm.
the system.
Mhm.
Strawberries are good for
Mhm.
the system. So I put some fruits every morning, and that's my breakfast.
Mhm.
Uh, and then for stress, focused only on the stress, aside from the exercise, is mindfulness. And I think this
Mhm.
is the key for me. If
Yeah.
I'm feeling stressed, I bring myself back to myself. I literally bring
Mhm.
my attention back to myself, and I start focusing on why it is that I'm feeling that way and what can I do to help myself feel in that or feel better in that moment.
Mhm.
There is something that I can do. If I'm feeling uncomfortable and I can do something about it, then I do it and it should stop, right?
Mhm.
If I cannot do something about it, if I'm worried about something that it's going to happen in the next 2 days, for example, and I have no control over it right now, I just keep reminding myself the present is the present, the future should, worry about
Mhm.
the future comes, basically.
Mhm.
I was reading and I was listening to
Yeah.
Eckhart Tolle. Do you know him?
Mhm. Mhm. Yep.
Okay.
Familiar with his work. Yes.
He says there is no anxiety in the future. I mean, there is no anxiety in the present. And that's the truth. The present is the present, that there is nothing else aside from the present.
Yeah.
There is anxiety in the past and there is anxiety in the future. You worry about your
Mhm.
past or you worry about what's going on in the future. But if
Mhm.
you think about it for a second, if you are just doing whatever it is that you're doing at the moment and you're focusing on just your breathing, there is no anxiety in breathing. There's
Mhm.
no anxiety in being, on just being you. There is no anxiety at all.
Yeah.
So it's always reminding myself and bringing myself back to being in the present, being in the moment, being mindful. And that has helped me more than anything else that
Mhm.
I've done in my,
Mhm.
in my life for
Yeah.
anxiety and stress.
Yeah. It's because we're really not human beings. We're human doings, and we
Mhm.
have to be human beings and just be and the present. And yeah, very much. I'm so much in alignment with what you said, because it is about, something that always even sticks in my mind, about to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, is also that your thoughts are powerful, but your words are spells. So what you're speaking and what you're saying is like you're broadcasting it to the universe. And so if you want to have a crappy day, start complaining. You want to have a great day, start showing gratitude. First thing in the morning, you woke up, you have water, you can put your shoes on, you can go outside. I mean, we have so much to be grateful for. And studies even show how gratitude impacts your immune system and how stress impacts your immune system. So you can even just change your whole microbiome just with gratitude.
Just
So,
emotions.
that, and then just in the morning, thinking about something amazing, something about I call it my God time. And I just go out and I get some sun in the morning, and just, I set my timer, and it's just, thank you for this. Thank you for that. Thank you for this tree. You can just go on and on. Thank you that I have feet, that my knees don't hurt, so gratitude, I think, is real important as, one of the, to manage stress, and also look at it as, what is the worst situation that can happen, and sometimes the worst situation, okay, so you no longer exist on this planet, right? So it's just like, but it really, before, like, you think, oh, I might lose my house, okay, but I might be homeless. You have family and friends that will take you in till the time, being. And so they're always going to make sure you have food, and they're going to support you while you go look for a job or whatever. But there's always, I believe, a solution. It's just, we have to be more, or I don't even have to, I said, we get to be more driven to come out of love and passion and hopefulness instead of fear.
Oh,
And so just managing, that's really helped me a lot, is just that whole gratitude in the morning and the evening, visualization of just seeing how I want to see things, and really just when you go help somebody else, you don't think about yourself,
mhm.
you help somebody else and you don't think about yourself.
Sure.
So that's
Mhm.
one of the best medicines for all of us,
Mhm.
is helping others.
I
So, how do you, um, how are you seeing things like, people coming out? I always say, coming out a better version of you?
You know, and it's one of the reasons why I started doing positive blueprints once the COVID pandemic started here, because I wanted to help maybe see in you, in everybody watching,
Yeah.
that there is potential for better, that there is potential for more, that we can always grow, we can always make a bigger impact in whatever it is that we're doing. You know, if you're having a talk with your kid at home and you're just fully present and engaging in the conversation, you're making a bigger impact already.
Yeah. Yes.
It can be something as simple and just being present in what you're doing at that moment, right?
Yes.
So by focusing on this and by focusing on what it is, because part of being mindful, it's knowing or getting to know yourself better, right? So what it is that you want to do and start working a little bit towards it now that we have the time. You know, a lot of people have time before or now that they didn't have before. A lot of my patients, I remember, they used to say, well, I can't exercise because
I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time. Yes.
So right now, if you have the time, my hope would be that you realize that we can always grow in different areas, in whatever it is that you feel kind of like that sense of I could be doing better, whether it's in your relationship with your kids, husband, wife, or at work, or in your personal health, whatever it is that you feel like you could be doing something to improve it, and start doing it right now. I mean, today is the best moment to start doing something is today.
Yes. And that's all you have. And I'm kind of looking at, how, how to come out a better person out of this. One is look at what didn't I really like about what I was doing, or maybe wasn't bringing me value. That's one thing. And the other thing is also looking at what's really important. I put my faith is my fitness, my family, very, very important to me. But it's also about, I tend to put myself first above my family because then I can't serve them. So it's more about the good thing that's been coming out about this. Of course, meeting you, connecting with people all over the world. I was just on a call with someone from, where was that? Well, last week was South Africa. Another fellow from England. And it's just been it's been great. That's been something good. And so even just the fact that we're doing this is also something good, that, just to, becoming a better person and things that people can do is like, yes, take care of your health. Because like I mentioned earlier, if you don't feel great, it's hard to be nice to other people. Your brain is in survival mode. It's not in fear mode. And when you're in survival and fear mode, you can't learn new things. So it's about getting into that gratitude and just remember to make it a daily practice, to be grateful. And that way the brain opens up, that you're able to actually hear what another person's saying and really have those aha moments of, wow, I could do that. So, that is my hope.
One thing that I learned about feeling grateful and gratefulness, practicing gratefulness. And it's something that I do every morning as well. That's how I start my day, practicing gratefulness. When you practice gratefulness, in a sense, you're kind of feeling that you are satisfied with what you have and you're ready to receive more.
Yes.
So by practicing gratefulness, if you're grateful about something, you will see that you're bringing more of that into your life. So it's also something, it's kind of like a cool experiment that everybody can try. If you feel grateful about something, if you really feel that emotional gratefulness, you do get more of that into your life.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm excited that we got to share this with some of, people that are watching, people that will be hearing this in the future, and just know that it's something that we're not special, and we're special. It's just like, we're just two females here trying to, help people just live a better life, and also to value themselves as a person, that you matter, and that your worth is not it's not determined on, the car you drive, the house you live in, and you don't need that. You don't need somebody else's approval to start making decisions so that you can have a better life. It really comes up to, we all have to take full responsibility for what's going on exactly in our life at this time. And nobody can force us to think a certain way. We just choose. If a person's telling you this, it's okay to not be in agreement with them. But bottom line is, we have to take full responsibility for everything happening in our life. And even if something happens to us, how can we look at it? I've been in a car accident and it's like, oh, am I taking full responsibility? Well, I did get in the car and I did drive. I was hurt, but how am I going to manage and handle that? So those are things.
That's crucial, because if you take responsibility for something, you have the power to also make it better. But if you don't have the responsibility for something, then you're giving power to somebody else to fix it for you, and that may never happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. So I hope these are some takeaways that they can walk away with, and to know that on your page you have just a lot of little strategies and health nuggets, and we tend to do that on our page and on our website, and it's there for you. It's there for you. It's there to help you be the best version of you. And that version is going to be different every single day. It's going to be different every year. So my mantra is kind of like, I'm chasing the best version of me every single day. And even if we just improve by 1%, that's better than yesterday. It does start to, it's a cumulative effect. It's like, we don't gain 50 pounds by eating one hamburger in one day. It wasn't that one thing. No, it was eating them every single day and not working out. It was it was various things that led to that. So just to remember that. So we'll see y'all next week, where we're gonna.
Before we go, does anybody have any questions? Anything for us? We do want to thank you for joining us. Yeah. It's been awesome.
Yeah, and we'll post the next topic next week, and just thank you all for being here. Hopefully you can walk away and apply some of these tools, and just tag us in your and go into our pages and just let us know what you want us to help us with, because we are more alike than we are different. That's for sure. So, all right. So we'll see y'all next week. All right. Bye.
All right. Bye.